Hello everybody and welcome to Rapper Rankings, and in these videos I take a look at the songs on some of my favorite albums or a particular topic that I'm interested in, and I rank those songs in order of my listening preference. And in today's video, I'm taking a look at NF's album, The Search. The Search came out in 2019. It has 20 tracks on the album, but one of those is an interlude and one of those is an edit of another song on the album, so I will not be ranking those two. As per custom to these ranking videos, I want to give a massive shout out to everybody that you see on the screen right here. These are my YouTube channel members. These amazing people that you see on the screen provide direct support to me through YouTube channel memberships. If you would like to sign up and become a channel member, it helps me out so much. You get a cool badge next to your name, you get priority comments, so I always see your comments, I always heart them, I always respond to them. Plus you get discount codes for merchandise on my website, and you get a shout out in every single video that I do, just like this right here. So if you'd like to do that, there is a link in the description, and you guys help me out so much. But without further ado, here is my ranking of NF's The Search. So this video is going to be very hard for me to do because this is probably one of my favorite albums that I've ever heard. This is the rare zero skip album for me. So even though there are 18 rankings on this, there has to be an 18th ranked song on this. That does not mean that I don't like the song. Honestly, I wish there were songs that I hated on this, so it would make the rankings a little bit easier. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So to start it off with number 18 of The Search, I have Thinking. Really, the only thing that I don't particularly care for on this specific song is how slow the chorus is. It is just NF kind of saying the same phrase over and over again, and there's a whole lot of dead space in the hook of this song. But that is by design, because it gives you so much time and so much room to really think about life in the song, and that's what the whole message is about the song. This song also has a quote that I think about all the time, and there's a lot of songs on this album that have a lot of quotables that stick with me. But in this song, he says, "To me, negative thinking just means that I'm realistic." And that is something that I personally can definitely relate to because a lot of the inner conflicts that I have with myself, which is also why I'm very partial to this album and why I love so many songs on this album. At number 17, I have Truama.
Traumas, they surround me.
Now this is one of those songs that make me feel nothing but true pain and sadness. And honestly, after I hear this song, I kind of have to turn off music for a little bit just because of how much it can get into my head. Once I hear this song, it's definitely hard for me to kind of come out of the mood that the song puts me in. Again, some more relatable quotes from this song, like "I scream and yell but feel speechless," and "ask for help but you call it weakness." There's just some really powerful messages in this song, but because of how it makes me feel, I can't just keep playing it over and over again. And you will see that with a couple more songs on this album because there's a whole lot of emotion thrown into this. At number 16, I have Let Me Go.
Let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go.
This is probably one of my least favorite hooks on the album. It's very similar to Thinking, where he's just saying the same phrase over and over again. But that is not a knock because it is super powerful. This entire song really makes you focus on what NF is saying. There's not a whole lot going on in the instrumental, so you're not distracted by beats or certain sounds. You're really only focused on his voice. And again, this is another one of those painful songs that you can't really listen to a whole lot of music afterwards unless it's more painful music. And speaking of that, we roll into number 15 with Hate Myself.
But it's hard when I hate myself.
I relate to this song a ton, probably more so than a lot of the songs on this album. But the chorus on this, man, him singing to himself, saying that he doesn't see himself like he should and that he wants to help himself so bad, but he can't because he hates himself. That is just so powerful and, again, so painful. And that is why it's kind of down here, because I can't listen to it over and over again because it just hurts. NF's constant battle with his inner thoughts and the way that he sees himself throughout this album is a very central theme, and this falls right in line with all of that. But again, it's a super relatable song, especially talking about how the nights are the worst parts for him. That's when he really starts to think the worst about himself, and it really just makes you feel for him. You're gonna see a whole lot of these deep, dark songs at the bottom of this list just because it's hard for me to continuously play them over and over again. But like I said earlier, just because they're at the bottom of the list does not mean that I don't like them. This is a zero skip album for me. Like if this song comes on, I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna skip over it and go to something else, unless I have like a car full of people and I don't want them listening to how I hate myself. At number 14, we have Time.
I just need time.
I think this is an absolutely beautiful song. The music video was really cool with this one as well. The whole thing was in reverse. And I love that NF is talking about trying to better himself in a relationship. I know it's super relatable for a lot of people. But I think for me, this was one of the singles that came out for this album, and I've heard it so much, and it just doesn't have the same impact on me as it did whenever it first dropped. But again, I'm not gonna skip it. At number 13, I have Like This.
But I didn't know that it would be like this.
Man, NF has such a natural singing voice, and it's so effortless for him to hit these pitch perfect notes. You don't hear any kind of stress on his vocal cords whenever he's hitting this. It's almost like he's talking and then just slides right onto this beautiful melody. And he really exemplifies this on this song, specifically at the end of his verses leading into the chorus. Again, some more quotables that I always take with me from this song are, why do I waste so much time on things that I can't fix? And I love the line where he's talking about someone giving him opinions from the nosebleeds even though they're not even close. The layering on the hook on this sounds awesome. And again, he's just so effortless whenever he sings, and I love that about a ton of the songs on this album. At number 12, I have Nate.
I'm here for you if you need someone to listen. If you need someone to listen.
Conceptually, this is probably my favorite song on this album. It's one of those, whenever I heard it, I was like, dang, I wish I would have come up with that idea. And coming from another rapper, that's one of the biggest compliments that another rapper can give you, is wishing that they had written the song that you just put out. But I love the idea of NF giving advice to his younger self based on the experiences that he himself is living through his life. Another super relatable song. I'm sure you're gonna get tired of hearing me say that about this album, but the visual imagery that he paints in this song, the storytelling that he does throughout moments of his life, I love it. Isn't that crazy? I love the number 12 spot. That just goes to show you how awesome that I think this album is. At number 11, I have No Excuses.
Woo! No excuses.
One of my favorite cadences and flows that he has on this entire album happens at the end of this song, where he's like, twisted mind of a lyricist. It's just a very NF unique sounding cadence that he does a lot throughout this album, and this is just one example. The hook I think is awesome. Say a little, do a lot, no excuses. Definitely a gym song. You just toss this on, start throwing up some weights. It's very similar to another song on this album that I haven't ranked yet, and I just don't like this one quite as much as I like that other one that will be coming up, and I'll talk about it here in just a second. And breaking in at the top 10 with number 10, I have My Stress.
I just want relief from my stress.
And I really fluctuated on where to put this one. This was really hard for me to rank, but I feel like this is such a personal choice for me because I really relate to a lot of the stuff that he says in this song. It might be because I'm an artist myself and I deal with a lot of the things that he's talking about, but I love when he's talking about people speaking to him saying, how can you be sad when you have a house like that and a car like this? And it's a way of saying the cliche that money doesn't buy happiness without being the cliche corniness that exists in that. But again, there's just some more of this amazing pitch perfect, effortless sounding singing that NF knows how to do. And then a message that I think a lot of us can relate to is sometimes I just don't want to have a bunch of people to impress. I just want to stay home and relax. I don't want to have to deal with conversations. I don't want to have to talk about stuff that doesn't amaze me. And he says that specifically in this song. Coming in at number 9, I have Options.
I gotta make it, man. These are the options. These are the options.
Now this is a song that was similar to No Excuses that I talked about earlier. They're both a very similar structured style of song, but I find this song just a little bit better in my listening preference. I love the hook behind this one saying that the only options are to make it or to make it. That's it. No other options. Another really dope weight room song. Just throw it on, toss up some weights, and just literally talk to yourself like, I gotta make it. No other options. And there's even some more self-awareness in this song as well, talking about how he could write a pop song, but then he can write a straight rap banger like this one. I love the confidence that he exudes on this song. It's a good mixture of emotion to toss into this album because there's a whole lot of sad stuff, a whole lot of inner pain stuff, but then you got some braggadocious stuff like this that just really works. I will say the one thing that I don't particularly care about this song specifically is some of the analogies that he makes in his second verse, like saying UFC without the fighters, cigarettes without the lighters, that whole big scheme. He does a lot of different things like that, and that's the one time that it felt just a little bit lazy for me, because that's kind of just a template that you can toss into the song and fill in the blanks. But then he saves it with this incredible, ridiculous cadence that he has at the second part of this verse, and it's why it's one of my favorite songs on the album. Coming in at number 8, I have Why.
I push away the people that I love the most. Why?
This song is just awesome. You have so many unique sounding NF cadences in this song, and I think that's a huge compliment because as long as rap has been around, you figured that every flow, every cadence has been hit, but no, NF has several unique cadences to him specifically. And I personally think that that is one of the hardest things to come up with nowadays because everything feels like it's been done. I'm a sucker for whenever NF has conversations with himself, and that is basically what this entire song is. The beat is absolutely gnarly on this thing. He has some more inner conflicts with himself, which I said earlier is one of the more super relatable things about this album for me. And the music video was awesome. This was the very first single for this album, I believe, and it introduced the black balloons, the shopping cart. It kind of tied a lot of stuff in together. Dropping in at the number 7 spot, I have Change. And man, oh man, do I love this song.
I'm looking for change.
You finally get a glimpse of a little bit of happiness in NF's life, and I think that is exactly what this album needed because there is so much darkness and sadness. But from the jump, there's this little humming, singing thing that's happening in the background that happens the entire song, and I love it. You have some more really cool cadences from NF in this song with a very, very powerful hook that just moves me a lot, especially the very end of this song, where he talks about last year he felt suicidal, but this year he's gonna do something different, like talking to God, looking for change. And I love the quote on this, that the world doesn't stop just because I'm in a bad mood. And the last one before we get into the top 5, with number 6, I have Returns.
The outcast finally returns.
Ooh, man, I love Pissed Off NF. The little choirs humming in the background of the song just make it so gritty. But this is pure rap, no hook, and whenever a rapper can make a song that doesn't have a hook and keep me entertained the entire time, that is a good freaking song. That's a good artist. That's a hard thing to do. I know whenever the album came out and people were talking about this song, a lot of people were thinking that it was an Eminem diss. I don't personally think that it was, but I can't imagine the turmoil that would happen inside of my body if that were to happen. I would be so conflicted and hurt. And I don't even want to think about that. Regardless, this is NF responding to a lot of the negative criticisms that he has received over the years, and I'm all for it. All right, cracking the top 5. At number 5, I have Only.
I can't be the only.
From what I remember, I think this is the only collaboration, true collaboration, that he has credited on this album with Sasha Sloan. But again, relatability out the wazoo. And I think this song does a great job at showing why NF is one of the best, if not the best, at spilling out his emotion on a page and letting other people relate to it. It's one thing to just kind of talk about your problems to an audience, but I feel like he talks about it in a way where other people can kind of latch onto it and feel the exact same way. And that is the entire concept behind this song, saying that he can't be the only one that feels certain ways about certain stuff. And a quotable from this song as well, and I see a lot of people talk about this one, is tell me everything I'm not. What, you don't think I know those things? And me being an artist myself, I absolutely relate to that, because, you know, I constantly get comments saying that I'm not selling this amount of CDs, I'm not getting this amount of streams, I don't have as many streams as this artist. And they're like, what, you think I don't know that? What, like, why are you saying that? And I absolutely love whenever NF sings with Sasha Sloan at the end of the song, and it all ties it in together. And now into the top 4, literally any of these top 4 could be number 1. That's how hard this one is. But today, whenever I woke up, I ranked number 4 as Leave Me Alone.
Hey, leave me alone!
I remember doing a reaction video to this whenever the music video first came out, and I heard the song and I was like, dude, this song would go crazy at a concert. I just know it would. And I was right. Holy balls. I went to a concert in Nashville, Tennessee, and he performed this song and the place just erupted. It was insane. But again, this is NF absolutely flexing that dude knows how to rap. Some more incredible cadences all the way throughout this song. There's a ton of them. He even picks up the speed a little bit on this song with clarity, and I'm a sucker for speed raps with clarity that actually have punchlines and not just weird stuff. You can't see it, but behind you I have 3 canvases signed by Tech9, who is my favorite rapper of all time, who is known for the speed rap of clarity. But yeah, this song is just absolutely nuts. I don't know how you can't like this song. Dropping in at number 3, my favorite NF music video of all time for certain, and depending on the day you ask me, probably one of my favorite NF songs of all time. But today, number 3, we have When I Grow Up.
When I grow up.
The little Tinker Toy sound effect that is sampled throughout this entire thing is awesome. But dude, there's just this ominous humming that happens throughout this song, and it makes it so awesome and gritty and dirty, and one of my favorite rap sounding tracks that NF has ever put out. But this song is chock full of punchlines, chock full of unique NF cadences. It's literally just an explosion of awesomeness. And that last hook gives me chills every single time, especially whenever it's tied to the music video, because it transitions from him rapping to just about 3 or 4 people in a basement somewhere, and he's like jumping up and down, and whenever the beat drops, it switches to him rapping in front of thousands of people, everybody going insane. It literally, I got goosebumps on my arm thinking about it. And there is this dirty 808 feel that happens in this song that you can hear, and it's just so good. Listen to me, I'm talking about it like it's my number 1 song on this album. And obviously the quote might not be the best in my field, but I guarantee that I'm gonna die real is just awesome. And now into the top 2. At number 2, I have I Miss the Days.
I miss the smiles we had when we were young.
And let me tell you, the very end of this song might be my favorite moment in any NF song ever. The layered vocals at the end of this are insane. The choir in the background, the little rounds that NF is doing with his own voice. The end of this is just so, it's a masterpiece. That's literally the only way I can describe it, is a masterpiece. But again, this is another super relatable song about missing the old days. In NF's case, he's missing the days whenever he didn't doubt himself, whenever he didn't have so much inner conflict with himself that he wants to go back to those days where he doesn't feel like he does now. And I think almost everybody can relate to that. But there's some more of this amazing singing by NF in this album. I think he is just as good as a singer as he is a rapper. And this song absolutely showcases that. But that brings us to our number 1 song song on this album, to no surprise, is The Search.
Hey, Nate. How's life?
And this is one of NF's greatest songs ever. The rapping is so freaking perfect on this. This was absolutely the perfect way to introduce this album. It's one of the greatest opening tracks to an album, I feel like, of all time. The way he introduces this album literally could not get any better. And the song couldn't get any better. It's amazing. This thing is chock full of very unique sounding NF cadences, which I said earlier is a near impossible thing to do, is create your own style of cadences, and he just does it so much throughout this album. The pizziccatos and the instrumental of this are just a staple to NF's sound. And again, this is another one of those purely rap songs that doesn't have a chorus that absolutely keeps my attention throughout the entire thing. You've got some more responses to the negative criticism that NF has gotten, and like I said earlier, I'm all for it. The beat drop in the middle, oh! You've got some more self-awareness. This song just culminates everything that I love about NF in one song. But there we have it. That is my ranking of NF's The Search, which undoubtedly would change if you asked me tomorrow. So that's how crazy this album is. Everything could be flip-flopped on any given day. But more importantly, I would love to see your rankings down in the comments below, because I know they have to be different than mine, because music is subjective, and that's the best part about it. Again, shout out to everybody on the screen for being a YouTube channel member. If you would like to join, that helps me out so much. I've also got a ton of these shirts on my website if you guys want to go check those out. And if you become a YouTube member, you get a discount code for the merch as well. So saving you tons of money over here. But that's the end of this one, guys. Please comment down below which albums or what topics you would like for me to rank next. I got a whole playlist on the screen right here of all the other rankings that I've done, so please go binge watch those. And thank you so much for watching this video. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
Where were you on the nights that I sat by myself in my room, out my mind, trying to handle my health, all alone on the phone, hoping you pick up the cell? But now I know how it goes when I get your voicemail. Where were you on the nights that I sat by myself in my room?